Hey, this is William for attackofthefanboy.com, and this is XCOM 2. Kyle, you're not a big XCOM fan, are you?
So I don't want to say that because it's...
Have you ever played the game?
No.
All right, well then just be quiet. I'll talk.
I really want to play, though. I've been wanting to play it forever, and I got it for free from so many different things, and I still haven't played it.
You still haven't played it?
I know. I have it on, I think, PS3 and maybe PC.
Yeah, PC's the better option, I think. But oh yeah, they did release this for like one of those PlayStation Plus deals.
Yep. There was that, and I may have picked it up during a Steam sale when it was like super cheap.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really want to play it. I know it's a series that I would love. Maybe, before the sequel comes out, I'll actually check that off my list.
Yeah. There is definitely a reason to go in and play that, but XCOM 2 isn't quite a sequel that, it's not structured in the same way that a lot of sequels are. Basically, XCOM 2 is a situation where it asks players, like, what would have happened if the enemies or the aliens would have defeated XCOM last time around. Or in Enemy Unknown and Enemy Within.
So if you had lost.
If you had lost. I lost plenty of times in XCOM. That's just part of the game, is losing, is just not getting, built up enough to stop the aliens. I have definitely seen my fair share of losing. So I can imagine a world where the aliens have won, but in XCOM 2, this is a reality, and they've essentially, are controlling humans on Earth and have kind of offered to be their leaders in exchange for living with, with disease in a disease-free and crime-free environment.
Gotcha. It's one of those where they bring all this good stuff, but
yeah,
they also will rule you.
It's just your friendly new alien overlords.
Yeah.
So there's some disappearances and stuff going on, and the XCOM team that remains is brought in to they want to uncover this story. I mean, that's kind of the backstory, and it's a little bit more narrative focused than it was before.
Yeah, I mean, the story before was really just that you were like this underground organization.
They're not really underground.
Like Black Ops organization.
You were
people don't know about you.
Yeah, you were an elite military organization, and this time around you're more of a resistance fighting squad, and you're trying to build up, this enemy a resistance force to take on the aliens. So, but for the most part, like, players that are playing XCOM 2 are going to see a lot of familiar stuff. You've got your geoscape, which is kind of what's on the screen right now, which is just your overworld map where you can select different missions to take on, and this is kind of how the other XCOM games are as well. You can do different missions like the one I'm about to take here, which is a black site mission, and it'll drop you into kind of a combat scenario. So there's two sides to the game. You have your combat scenarios, which is like the isometric, tile-based, squad and class-based combat, but it's turn-based. And then you have, the area that you saw before, which is your base, where you're building bases, you're upgrading your characters, you're using currency that you earn on missions or technology that you get from these missions to kind of build out your army. Build up the army, get them more powerful, bring them into battle, and the idea is to, complete the missions. I don't always complete them. I did not do very good while I was there. I did not beat this mission. And I've played a ton of XCOM. It was kind of tough. There was a lot of new enemies, a lot of new strategies. The special abilities for these new characters are all kind of different. There are actually 4 new characters. You've got a grenadier, a sharpshooter, a ranger, and a specialist. This one here is the specialist, and it's got a gremlin drone, which they can send out into the battlefield and kind of do different things. It can be a remote combat medic, or it can be a assaulting drone, and that they had some drones sort of stuff in the old games, but that's like a whole class built around that. This guy, the Ranger, has a shotgun and a blade, and he's kind of like a stealthier sort of character. And he's good at like close range combat, obviously, with the sword and shotgun. This is the Grenadier, and they have this massive machine gun, and there's two branches. Whether you can do like specialize in ammunition, you can specialize in like explosive damage or AoE damage, and then you have your sniper, sharpshooter, and they carry a pistol, and they can also be like a gunslinger, which allows them to take multiple turns with this pistol, and they're really accurate from short range, and they all have their unique abilities. They didn't tell us too much if there was going to be other classes.
Okay. I mean, were these ones that you're showing me, they're mostly the new ones, and you still have classic ones, or is this
they
all
had
that you got to look at?
They had snipers, they had heavies, they had shotgun people in the original, but these guys are a little bit more specialized with their branching power-up path.
Okay.
So instead of like for the sniper, you can focus on the sniping ability, or you can focus on the gunslinging ability. It's a little bit different than the old games. The other old games had the branching paths, but these characters just feel a lot different than those ones.
Yeah, and I mean, with all these upgrades, you probably feel even worse when they don't make it through the mission, because I'm guessing it's still permadeath if you're on a certain difficulty level.
It's always permadeath in this game.
Always permadeath. Okay,
Yeah.
I was thinking it was like Fire Emblem, and you could just flip that off if you wanted to.
No. No. Yeah, the permadeath, I think, is one of the things about XCOM that people like. It's that element of risk when you take a soldier into battle. I mean, there were ways around it. You could like save before you go and just restart and stuff like that. But other than that, like if you progress through there and save your game, you're going to lose that character for good. And that means all the upgrades that you've given them, all the stuff that you've outfitted for a character is lost, which sucks. Like I've lost many characters in this game where I'm like, fuck, man, that guy was awesome, or that girl was great. And this time around, they kind of put something in there where there's a lot more customization in this game from what were explained. I mean, there are you can customize the characters all the way down to their like emotions and how they handle themselves in battle. They've got different hats and color schemes and all sorts of stuff. Oh, they had a lot of customization in the old one, but not nearly as much as they have now. So if you save a character after you make them, you can have them randomly populated back into future games from a character pool, which I thought was a interesting idea. So we're going to jump into a mission here, and this is a Black Ops mission, I think, or a Black Site mission. It's kind of different. They have some different types of missions in XCOM 2. There are these Black Site missions where these are story type missions, and then they have some alien win condition missions. So if the aliens can also win while you're trying to win as well. So the game can be over if the alien reaches their win condition, which means that like they have objectives like you have and milestones in their game like you have. And if you don't select missions to stop these things from happening, they're going to reach their win condition before you reach yours. And that's something that's kind of new for XCOM 2 as well. And then you have your light missions, which are just going to reward you with things like technology bonuses, engineers, obviously currency, which is what the whole game is built on. And you have to kind of manage things on a macro level, and then when you're in game in combat, you're managing things on a micro level. So on the micro level here in combat, it's you're managing tile by tile, move by move, your squad of XCOM soldiers, and it's kind of changed a lot between the last couple games in here because of obviously the new abilities, but there's a lot of new enemies as well, and there's also a concealment feature, which is kind of like since you're like this resistance force, right, you're kind of moving around in the shadows at first. As you can see on the screen, it says Overwatch Concealed. It lets you know that like the enemy hasn't spotted you. You can kind of move your guys around the map to, get them ready to take out an enemy that is unaware of your presence. It'll give you bonuses and stat bonuses for that. It also gives you the jump on them, allowing you to get first shots. People who play XCOM understand that, moving your guys around the map, you put them in Overwatch situations where they are going to fire on targets if they become available. So if you're ever surprised or moving forward where you're kind of lifting the fog of war, if you move a little bit too far forward, you might encounter some enemies with a character. But if you have other squad members in Overwatch, they'll fire for you even though you might be out of turns. I don't know if you understand how XCOM works, but it's kind of built on a turn-based system.
Yeah, that was in what was the Nintendo one? Steam something. And so it seemed in that game, and I'm guessing in this one, where it's good to keep kind of teams of two so they can watch each other's back.
It's really, you can do a lot of different strategies. There's plenty of ways to do it. As you can see, like on this map, I could have people up on the buildings, down on the ground, inside the building, shooting out windows. I mean, there's a ton of strategy in how you can approach any sort of situation. But after your whole team moves, then the enemy team moves. And as we'll come up on this group of enemies, I didn't quite get the concealment stuff down on this mission, but if you think about it in the way of using the concealment, like every time you kind of go into a level, you can get the drop on people. It's just certainly not a game where you just keep pressing forward towards the objective. It's like very slow, very methodical, and the other games were like that as well. But this one seems like you need to use that sort of play style even more, because as you'll see here, there are quite a few different types of enemies that like pull you towards them. There's a new Viper type enemy, robotic enemies with very strong AoE attacks. But I think the biggest change to the actual gameplay is that concealment feature. And obviously, the new characters and enemies. But we didn't get, like in this mission here, we didn't get our attack off before we were revealed. So once the enemies know where you are, you'll see, multiple enemies coming in. Like these guys know where we are, and we'll have more enemies show up later. And then there are some other aspects to the game that we didn't really get into on this mission, like hacking, which can also kind of give you bonuses for a round, maybe let you control enemies for a couple of turns or disorient them, or if you fail in a hacking attempt on, say, a door that can open up the map for you, or a turret or something like that, you'll get a penalty, which is like more enemy reinforcements called in and stuff like that. So this guy pretty much shits on us.
Yeah, it looked like it. Did it just knock out?
He blew up that.
Two guys?
Yeah, he blew up that whole building. Everybody fell through the floor, and this was like, I was like, what the fuck happened?
You can actually alter. You can alter the landscape. Like he blew up a portion of the roof.
Well, he just did, and that kind of blew up our plans here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that we could blow that stuff up, but that big robot certainly did. Yeah. So yeah, things get kind of hectic here for me. I really hadn't wrapped my head around this game by the time I had to be done with it. I was extremely wanting to play more XCOM 2 and figure out some of these systems a little bit better and try out some of the different characters and all the different progression stuff that was kind of hinted at for us. But it seems like this one is, even more deep than the previous games, and it's kind of just like rounds out, what they started with the first two games, changing things up for the fans who like those. Adding different customization elements, more customization, more replayability, more procedural stuff. I was really impressed by this game. Obviously, we haven't played enough to really put a real judgment on it, but as an XCOM fan, XCOM 2 was something I was like, oh yeah, I can't wait till February.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I know you love XCOM, so the idea that this not only lived up to your expectations, but like introduced a lot of new elements, which so many games today, dumb things down, make them more casual. And with XCOM, really, I mean, the first game I think did really well. It was released on tons of platforms, and I think it sold well. You could see them kind of taking the path of dumbing it down, pulling it back, making it more casual. They don't seem to have done that.
It felt a lot of ways. I mean, I was trying to like quantify it to myself as I was leaving there. I was like, well, what is this game actually? Is it better than the originals? And I think in a lot of ways it probably could be. It just depends on where all that narrative stuff goes. But because since the other game didn't have that, this one might draw people in even further. It's hard to tell, but we'll have to see what shapes up when this game comes out in February. But it is PC only. I mean, you said it released on a lot of platforms, and it's only going to be one this time around.
Yeah, and the one that I think most people agreed was the best platform for it. So they're honing in.
I think I enjoyed play. Yeah, they're honing in. I couldn't get them to even mention the word console while I was there. So, or like controller configurations. So, it was. I think they're really focused in on the PC version of the game, and there's going to be like massive mod support. They're going to be releasing all the tools when this game comes out, and Steam Workshop support. So, I think they have their targets really dialed in on the PC market.
Very cool.
But yeah, it is. XCOM 2 should be a good one. I mean, at least from what I saw here, I would have loved to dig in a little deeper to some of the systems, but unfortunately I didn't get a chance to do that. But you can check out our written preview on attackofthefanboy.com, or just take our word for it in this video. For Kyle, I'm William for Attack of the Fanboy.
Taken care of. Copy. Moving on target. Feels good. Take care of those turrets. We're still not entirely sure if they're fully automated or remotely triggered. Enemy down. On reserves. Kill confirmed. Can't take much more of this. Hostile neutralized. Didn't think I'd go out like this. Affirmative. Moving out.
afford to take losses like this. The objective isn't worth the lives of our remaining troops. I'd recommend we abort while we still can.
Okay.
What is this place? The sheer volume of subject. The brutal efficiency of it all. Perhaps some sort of weapons testing facility.
Or a refinery.
We'll know soon enough. We need that sample.
Position confirmed. Incoming over here! I can't move! Who's got a med kit? Double time!
You heard the doctor. Secure that canister. Commander, that's it. We've lost the squad.
some heavy losses out there, Commander. We need to make sure this doesn't happen again. Having now seen the inner work...